Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, obviously if you like it, give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join the growing number of subscribers on this channel. Obviously, not a big channel, so it is what it is. And if you'd like to, you can hype the videos as well now. That's apparently a thing, which doesn't happen very often, but I do appreciate it if you do, and all that good stuff. And of course, if you'd like to, drop a comment down below, whether you're just stopping by to say hello, whether you've been here for a long time or a short time. Why not say hello? One, it goes a massive way to helping out the channel. Two, I really love hearing back from you guys. So whether you're stopping by to say hello, whether you're saying which faction is your favourite from Warhammer 40k, whether you're a particular colour scheme that you enjoy painting, all that good stuff. If you know some obscure Warhammer 40k lore, feel free to drop it down in the comments down below. It's really, really appreciated. And if you are dropping some obscure lore, by all means, go for it. I do love a really good bit of obscure lore, so why not? Anywho, enough rambling on. This week we are on issue number 88 of good old Combat Patrol magazine. We are closing in on the very end of this magazine's run. There is no extension to this magazine because the new edition of 40k is coming soon, and it's pretty much done, isn't it? The magazine is. So we only have 2 more issues after this one left to go through, so it is what it is, but we still have some cool bits to get, so why not? So this is going to be a really good one. Anyway, if you're thinking this is very, very familiar, this sprue is, that is because it is part 2 of 10 khorne Berzerkers for the World Eaters. We obviously already have 10 khorne Berzerkers for the World Eaters because the Combat Patrol contains 20. So this is a carbon copy of what we've already had, so it's identical. It is what it is. Obviously we had these in only issues 85 and 86, and obviously 87 had the other 2 sprues to it, and this week we get these and the bases. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to lie, these minis are actually fairly decent to build. I built the first 10 over the weekend, and I actually kind of enjoyed building them. I thought they were really good and they were pretty cool. These 10 will probably get built this weekend, and I will be waiting for some really nice hot weather before I spray paint these chappies, because that makes life a lot easier. Now, obviously last week in 87 we had the repeat build guide for the Berzerkers, so obviously this week we have the repeat paint guide for the Berzerkers. It is what it is, isn't it, really? It's one of these things. They need to obviously fill the pages out, and there's also that risk that people are only picking up certain issues and stuff like that, so they want people to have the paint guides and all that type of stuff, or they just kind of don't trust everybody to keep hold of pages. That could also be a thing, but obviously this is very, very straightforward. Painting it up using your Abaddon Black, Mephiston Red and all that type of stuff, that's pretty good. However, personally, spray paint it. Spray paint's far, far, far easier. I probably said this when we were doing issue 86 and many other issues, but spray paint is your friend in with these type of things, because you've got quite a lot of similar units. If you're brush painting them, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you're spray painting them, you can have them done in no time at all. You can knock them out pretty quick, and then you can get into doing all the details, so like the Retributor armor, Catachan flesh, Corax white and all that good stuff, and paint them up that way. So that's how I personally would do it. Spray paint is your best pal, so definitely go with that. The thing I will say though is, while this paint guide is very, very good, I would change a certain thing. So I would kind of go back over with Mephiston Red after you've used or your shade over the main armor areas with that agric surf shade, I would literally bring it back with a bit of Mephiston red, give it a brighter red colour personally, because I think that looks better. So whereas these guys have that kind of dark griminess to them, these guys are obviously a little bit brighter. Now I prefer the brighter colour, so I would go with that personally. So here's what it is, your choice though. The guide gives you a very, 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 very good paint job, but I like to be awkward, so I'll probably go slightly different, because, yeah, awkwardness is apparently my forte when it comes to painting. Anywho, enough babbling on. We have part 22 of Bonds of Honor in here as well. I'm not going to lie, I have not caught up with this at all because I have the Legend of Sigmar book on the go. Then I've got the Rise of Nagash book to read. Then I have... I was reading something else as well. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Call of Cthulhu novel and stuff like that. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. So I've not caught up with this. By the time the 22nd edition of Warhammer 40k comes out in a few decades time, I might have actually caught up with this. That's generally the way my kind of it's going at the moment. But the story looks pretty decent. So obviously we've got Space Marines and we've got a lot of Chaos factions coming in, and we have some really nice artwork as well. So I'm not going to lie, I really do like the Tzeentch demons for the Chaos factions. They are probably one of the best looking demons. I don't mind Bloodletters and your Khorne demons and everything like that. They're okay. But the followers of Tzeentch look better, in all honesty. They're pretty cool, they're pretty unique, and they are so much bright and so much more fun. So you can go really, really wacky with them and go with iridescent colours and stuff like that, which makes them look super magical and super unique and pretty, pretty funky. So you get a bit of that. And obviously this story is still going on quite a bit, so there's still quite a lot to the story. So yeah, happy days. It's a pretty good one. Good one from all accounts. Moving on from there, we have a little bit more of a read section, all to do with the Arcs of Omen. Farsight's Stand. As Vashtor's Arcs of Omen set out across the galaxy to recover the fragments of the key, many factions were drawn into the bloodshed. The forces of chaos did not care who was in their way and showed no quarter. In return, the people of the galaxy viciously defended their worlds and their space from the sudden onslaught. Having suffered defeat at the hands of his rival Be'lakor, Vashtor wasted no time in moving to recover the next fragment of the key. It was located on the planet Arthas Moloch, on the edge of Tau space. The Tau are powerful, but they are engaged in a major military action defending their borders from an orc invasion, which is pushing through the Damocles Gulf. The Tau campaign is progressing well, and under the commander of the Great Tau leader, Commander Farsight, the orcs are being driven back. So, I'm not going to lie, I do kind of like the Tau. I've always had a little bit of a thing for the Tau. They've always been one of these little factions that, while isn't everyone's cup of tea, and isn't, it kind of known for being a little bit, to play as. They're one of the factions that I must admit I've always really, really enjoyed. I enjoy building the minis. I enjoy painting their minis. They are definitely one of my favourite factions. And, the fact that you can get Commander Farsight, you can get some pretty cool looking battle suits out of these chappies, is probably one of the reasons why I really do like the good old the Tau. So they're pretty cool, in my opinion anyway. Moving on from there though, we get a little bit of extra fiction in here. So we get Auric Mortalis. So all to do with the Adeptus Custodes, the guards of the Emperor, and the Imperial Palace on Terra. So you get a little bit more about that, and it's all following the Indomitus Crusade and the fact that they are venturing out into the galaxy looking to find and extinguish threats to the Emperor before they even have a chance to get anywhere near the Golden Throne. Now, I'm not going to lie, the Adeptus Custodes, out of all the kind of the human Space Marine factions, are kind of up there with one of my favourites, although they're not. Are they Space Marines? Are they not Space Marines? I never 100% know. I do like the fact, though, that they are fully golden armour. They remind me very much of Stormcast Eternals in that way, respect. But obviously, super technological. And they're pretty cool. I've never painted any. I probably never will. But they have some really cool looks about them. They have something a little bit more ornate about their armour, which makes them look a little bit more unique and a little bit more religious zealoty style, which, can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but pretty cool stuff. So you get a little bit of fiction all to do with them, because why not? Then moving on, we have a new scenario, the Crimson Tide, scenario number 53. To play the Crimson Tide, set up your battlefield as shown on the next page, and then the players obviously do the usual and have a bit of fun with it. So, setting up your battlefield, you'll have a Space Marine deployment zone, and you'll have your World Eaters deployment zone. Have a bit of fun, smashy, nice time, and all that type of good stuff. You also get more information about how to utilise the enhancements to do with World Eater Combat Patrol sets as well. So, if you're utilising it all correctly, you're going to have your Lord on Juggernaut, a unit of 10 khorne Berzerkers, another unit of 10 khorne Berzerkers, and then 10 Jackals going up against the Space Marines in the shape of a Captain in Terminator armour, the Librarian in Terminator armour, 5 Terminators, and 5 Infernus Marines. So, smashy, combat patrol, battle time. Happy fun stuff. Moving on from there, though, obviously we only have 2 more issues of this magazine left. Those 2 issues, issue 89 and 90, are our bonus unit for the World Eaters, which is our Mauler Fiend or Forge Fiend, whichever one you want to make it into. Obviously this is going to be highly sought after, so if you live in a country where you've only just started Combat Patrol magazine and you think you may want a little bit of a bigger Chaos faction, and you may want, I don't know, a couple of Mauler Fiends or Forge Fiends, or one of each, to go with either the Chaos Space Marines or the World Eaters, or you want to put them with a different Chaos faction, maybe the Thousand Suns or something like that, then you may want to order in advance for these guys, because this is the type of issue that will be snapped up by scalpers, because they're going to want it, because that's a pretty cool kit. And for 20 quid, not bad. So, pretty cool stuff. Obviously, 2 issues left. It'll be sad to see the magazine go, but, onwards and upwards. And obviously, we have a new good old edition of Warhammer 40k to look forward to. And who knows, maybe we'll get another magazine. We just don't know. Anywho, that is more than enough from me. Thank you so much for watching. And obviously, if you like Age of Sigmar, obviously drop back tomorrow for the Age of Sigmar Spearhead magazine video. But yeah, for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye now.